Okay, here we go. Now we're on Shop Job 1601, and this is going to have the same functionality that Shop Job 1501 had. We're going to have forward and reversing of a single phase motor, but instead of using the selector switch to select run or jog, we're going to use 3 push buttons, and this is going to pose another challenge inside our PLC program to be able to keep track of all of the different options that can happen when we do this. So we're still using a 3-position selector switch for our direction control. We've just removed the 2-position selector switch for the jog functionality, and we have added the yellow push button as our jog button. So let's go over to our 1501 job, and we'll start with it, and we'll modify it for our Shop Job 1601. So first thing I'm going to do is save this as Shop Job 1601. And I already had one there, but I just overwrote it. And here, change that to 1601. Okay. And the first thing we need to do is get rid of this because we don't have the 2-position selector switch. Okay. And now what we need to do is give us jog functionality from that 3rd push button, but we don't want to lose the start functionality from the green push button. So we're going to leave this rung here alone for our forward, and we're going to leave this one alone for our reverse. And we're going to just copy this code. So I'm going to hit Control C and then Control V to copy that down. We can get rid of the copied rung comment because we only need that at the top. And the difference between run and jog is the absence of a holding circuit. So we can get rid of that, get rid of the holding circuit. And now all we need to do is, for our jog functionality, we need to put this towards our jog button, which is our bit 6. And this is going to be jog motor and JOG. Okay. And so now in this row here, if you push the yellow jog button, as long as the e-stop is okay and no one's pressing the stop and there isn't a direction change notification, and we have the forward selection made, pressing the jog will energize. We're going to have to come up with a new bit here for jog forward. We have one for run forward, and I'm just going to use the next one down here, bit number 2, and we're going to call this jog forward command. Okay, and then I'm going to just JOG FWD. Okay, so now we have this selection or this decision stored up in this particular binary. We can do the same thing down here for reverse. I'm just going to come here and hit Control C, Control V, and I'm going to eliminate my holding circuit, and I'm going to change this to 6. Okay, and this rung has the reverse selection in it, and so we want to store that to a different binary. So I'm going to use 3 here. We haven't used that one yet, and this one is going to be jog reverse command, and this will be JOG CFD JOG REV. Okay. Okay, so now we have that piece of information stored in a binary as well. So we'll be able to use these later on in the program. So let's evaluate the rest of the program to see what we're going to need to change. Of course, here, forward, as long as it's defined properly. In reverse, as long as it's defined properly, we won't have to change this at all. So we're going to look at those definitions to make sure that we're still representing what we need to within the program. And of course, if it's going to work up there, it's going to work down here in the opposite function. And so here we haven't changed the selector switch, and uh, we already believe that our last forward and last reverse are going to be correct as long as our light implementation is correct. So let's look at the light implementation. Okay, so we want this light to come on anytime that we have commanded the motor to run and we get the status back that we want, but now we can jog the motor and get the status we want back as well. So we have to put a rung branch here, and we're going to have to say that we want not only when we command it to run, but when we command it to jog. Okay, so if I tell it to run forward or jog forward and I get the forward pattern back, I'm going to turn on the white light. Okay, and then here, if I tell it to run in reverse, or if I tell it to jog in reverse, and I get the proper pattern back, I'm going to turn on that blue light. Okay, so this is going to be my B3:03. Okay, so that is the jog reverse command. Okay, so runner jogging forward is going to turn on my forward light if I get the right status pattern back, and run or jog reverse command, if I get the proper status back from my control relays, I will turn on my blue light. Okay, so that all looks good. Let's check out some more possibilities. So down here, we want the motor control relay, CR1, to come on when we've commanded it to run forward or run reverse, but we also want if we've jogged forward or jog reverse. So we're going to have to add that in here. So we want this for jog forward, okay, or jog reverse. Okay, and you can see this upside down birthday cake situation that I was talking about. So we're gonna try to fix this. We're gonna drag that up there, and then we'll drag this up here. Oh, still got one more to do here. It's just kind of a quirk in the software, in my opinion. Okay, so we have 0, 1. I like these to be in order, so I'm going to drag this one up here. So 0, 1, 2, 3. So here are my two run commands, and here are my two jog commands, forward and reverse, and they're all visually pleasing and neat in order. They don't necessarily have to be in order from top to bottom, and you don't necessarily have to worry about your rung being clean, but the neater we can get the program, the more professional it looks. So we have all of the options that are going to turn on CR1. These are all the options that we want to start the motor. Now down here we just need to look at all the options that we want to change the direction of the motor. And before we had it when we wanted to run in reverse. Well, now we want to do the same thing if we want to jog in reverse. So here we're just going to put our jog reverse here as well. Okay. All right, so that's looking pretty good. And of course, we're only going to time when the motor's not running, so that hasn't changed. So now, one thing you might have noticed is when we did our implementation for our light here, this light's going to come on in run or jog. Well, we actually use the light up in our holding circuit for run. So we're going to have to actually add a little, going to have to go back to our trick that we did in starting in Shop Job 901 of making sure that we were the rung that actually started the motor, made this white light come on. If we were the rung that did that, then we're going to hold. See down here, this is also going to turn on the white light. Well, if I didn't have this in here, it was going to keep the motor running, which is not the definition of jog. And then we're also going to need that down here for our reverse. So again, we're going to need to make sure that we were the rung that actually started the motor, and in the reverse direction, and that blue light comes on, then we're going to do our holding circuit. Okay, that should be all the changes that we need to do. And I'm going to go ahead and check this. I'm going to download this. And we'll test it out. Okay. So right now you can see that my selector switch is in the forward position, and also right here you can see I have logical continuity for the forward selection. So if I push the forward button, or the start button, because I have the forward selection, we're going to turn on this run forward bit, which down lower is going to energize CR1. And in doing so, we're going to get the proper pattern back for forward. Our white light's going to come on, and since this is already true, we're going to hold our circuit in a running fashion. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and hit stop. And again, we don't have to worry about the direction change because we're going in the same direction. Now I'm going to go ahead and hit my jog button, which you're going to see the logical continuity right there for jog. But if you notice, see up here, if we didn't have this actual designation in our holding circuit, we would actually keep the motor running. But we had to bring it back into that holding circuit because we want this to be a jog. Okay, so now I'm going to push my jog button. I'm going to quickly change the direction of the motor, and then I'm going to try to jog in the opposite direction to check our direction change. Okay, so I'm going to do this, and I'm going to hit here, and I'm going to do that, and it says, nope, you can't do it. You're trying to jog, but you're going to have to wait for the spin down time. And now I can jog in the opposite direction. So now we're testing our jog in reverse. I'll go ahead and test my start in reverse, and it's starting and holding. Okay, and the other thing that we need to check is the change in the selection of directions should stop my motor. So if I flip this over, you notice it stopped my motor, and it's indicating that you have to wait for that motor spin down, and then you can start it. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead once again, and I'm going to flip it in the reverse direction, and again it tells me that I have to wait for that start switch to come into play. Okay, so that is the solution for 1601. You can see, even though we're just talking about one motor and a couple different features, how large the program can get. So I hope this helps, and we'll see you in the next video.